A quiet afternoon is taking shape on equity markets with major indices hugging the flat line on light volume as traders take cues from treasuries, the dollar index, and Ben Bernanke's testimony on Capitol Hill. With today's New York Stock Exchange floor report, I'm Rebecca Darst coming to you from the Market Access Center here on the floor with the Global Markets Roundup. We are up 5 points in the Dow and just over 5 S&P points, with equity bulls taking some solace in prepared remarks by Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke. Speaking before the House Financial Services Committee, Dr. Ben said the Fed's current program of asset purchases are not on a preset course and might be expanded or reduced as conditions warrant. And in any case, the policy will remain accommodative for the time being. Remember, we've seen some equity market volatility in recent weeks in the expectation that the Fed will taper its asset purchases as of the September meeting. So Bernanke's testimony today offered a glimmer of hope that this might not be the case. The chairman always full of surprises. Let's take a quick look at the action on global markets overnight. Asia-Pacific indices closed in mixed territory. Of note was a 1% lower close for China's Shanghai Composite. Overnight, we had some comment from the IMF, which released its annual assessment of China's economy, noting that downside risk to current growth estimates have increased. The IMF's report was authored but not released prior to Monday's GDP release, which showed a slowdown in growth last quarter to 7.5%. Also out of China overnight, the country's richest man, chairman and majority shareholder of the consumer products bellwether Hangzhou Wahaha Group, forecast continued slowdown in the back half of the year and urged China to cut taxes and break up monopolies in order to spur growth. And there were also comments from Chinese officialdom, with a spokesperson from the Ministry of Commerce acknowledging that present trade conditions are severe and that recent strength in the yuan is hurting the country's export competitiveness. European indices closed mostly in the black, although there was some weakness from Switzerland's SMI index after the Swiss ZEW confidence survey fell short of expectations. Otherwise, the closing prints were positive across Europe as most regional markets followed Bernanke's testimony with a resounding buy order. Here in New York, the first move higher came in the pre-market when the text of Bernanke's prepared remarks were released. Precious metals also got a boost. In data news, U.S. June housing starts fell short of consensus, with economists by and large looking for an annualized rate of 958,000 new starts in June. Instead, the June number printed at 836. Otherwise, volatility has been soft today. The VIX is down more than 3% and below a reading of 14 on inline option volumes. The New York Stock Exchange is looking ahead to the data and earnings calendar for next week. On Monday, July 22nd, we'll kick things off with some retail store sales from Japan. The U.S. will release June existing home sales and a reading of Chicago Fed area economic activity, along with earnings from McDonald's, Halliburton, and Kimberly-Clark. On Tuesday, France will release its business confidence and production outlook for July. The U.K. will release June home loan data. Canada releases May retail sales, and the U.S. pre-market brings the May home price index and July reading on economic activity from the Richmond Fed. A full 43 companies are set to report earnings, including Apple, Travelers, Radio Shack, CIT Group, UPS, United Technologies, and AT&T. Activity picks up midweek with a China July PMI number due out overnight, along with Bloomberg's economic survey of the Chinese economy. Australia releases Q2 CPI, while New Zealand and Japan both release June trade balance figures. We've got a string of July PMI services and manufacturing numbers due out of France, Germany, and the Eurozone. The U.S. will also release a July PMI number, along with new home sales. 66 companies will report earnings, including Ford, Caterpillar, General Dynamics, Eli Lilly, Boeing, AMD, and Moody's. On Thursday, South Korea will release Q2 GDP overnight, and consumer confidence data will be out after Thursday's U.S. close. Japan's weekly foreign and domestic stock and bond buying data will be released. Germany will release its July IFO Business Climate and Expectations Survey. The UK will release its GDP and Index of Services, and we'll get some June money supply data from the Eurozone. The US pre-market will bring durable goods and capital goods readings for June, along with the July Kansas City Fed Manufacturing Index, and 93 companies will report earnings. General Motors, Harley-Davidson, Borg-Warner, Xerox, Boston Scientific, and Bristol-Myers Squibb are among the companies due to report. We will end the week with a look at June inflation in Japan, France's July consumer confidence, University of Michigan confidence here in the U.S., and a quiet day of earnings from KKR, Iron Mountain, and Royal Caribbean. We'll be watching all the activity as it unfolds here on the floor, so be sure to check your inbox for daily insights in the midday, and check us out midweek for the next MacDesk Floor Report.